Welcome to the Extraordinary Executives Podcast, where business owners like you share their experiences, insight, and lessons learned. So grab your cup of coffee or tea and get ready for an engaging conversation. Here's your host, Randy Jones.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Extraordinary Executives Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Jones, and we have a special guest with us today, Ms. Shawnessa, the CEO and owner of Rejuvenated Minds Therapeutic Services. Shawnessa believes in comprehensive self-care, incorporates your mind, your body, and your soul. She's an entrepreneur, a CEO, and absolutely an extraordinary executive. Welcome, Shawnessa.
Having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us. We're going to get right in like I always do because people are interested to hear your story and, and everything else that you want to share with us. So tell me about Rejuvenated Minds. Tell me about the company, or better yet, why did you start the company?
Oh, that's a great question. So Rejuvenated Minds Therapeutic Services is my private practice that I started during the pandemic, actually, like many business owners did. And I started because I want to assist individuals with a multitude of mental health challenges, including depression, anxiety, generational trauma, abandonment trauma, and post-traumatic stress disorder. As far as why I started the company, honestly, I just hated being restricted at a company. I wasn't able to be my free self. I wasn't able to put my creative flair on things, specifically when we talk about therapy, practice different therapeutic modalities because, again, restrictions. Companies wanted me to do this, but I felt like my clients needed this. So once I discovered that was hindering me from growing as a clinician, as well as from effectively helping my clients, I decided to branch out on my own. And I haven't looked back since. I'm super, super happy. And last thing, restricted with income. I did not want to be capped at this particular salary. I wanted to be able to make as much as I wanted when I wanted. So that was a huge reason why I also transitioned into my private practice in the world of entrepreneurship.
Outstanding. So I guess, saying that you started during the pandemic and, you probably wear a lot of hats. I often refer to people as, the BBC versus the CEO, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker.
There we go.
So what is your role? What do you do on a day-to-day basis, just running your business? Yeah, go ahead.
Great question. So right now I am actually transitioning into giving all the admin duties to a virtual assistant. So I'm super excited about that. But during the pandemic, when I first started, as you mentioned, I was doing all the things when I started out, all of the things. I was answering phone, emails, booking speaking engagements, contacting clients, onboarding clients, social media, all of the things. It wasn't so bad because we were all stuck at home. So I had nothing but time. But as outside started opening, it was like, okay, now I don't have any time to do anything because all my time is in the business. So when you mentioned that particular analogy, it made me laugh because it's actually it can lead to burnout. So I had to learn that early. Well, I would say early on. It was, like I said, it was good at the beginning stages when I went full time because I had nothing but time.
Right.
But as time progressed and more clients came in, there were more speaking engagement. I learned that I can't do all the things because I'm going to get burned out. I can't prepare for a speaking engagement and see clients. I can't prepare for a speaking engagement and answer my phone. And you got to also be mindful that taking time away from the business is you taking time away from bringing revenue into the business.
Right.
So eventually people do have to outsource certain tasks. And I got to that point, I want to say I'll say towards the end of 2021, I was like, yeah, the superhero business owner, I can't do all of that. I can't. Team is necessary.
Right. So talking about that, a lot of times, there's some business owners who are going to be listening to, they're just starting out. And when you're a business owner, you want things a certain way. You like it your way. And bringing on another person, especially in today's world where everybody is virtual. How has it been bringing on a virtual assistant? Is it more, handing things over? Or have you guys co-branded or co-developed processes and systems? How has that experience been?
I think it's been really good because I actually interviewed a bunch of companies. I always tell people my business is my baby. It was hard for me to trust people with my baby, which is why it took so long to resource certain tasks out. But when you are building a team, you really have to determine what organizations or what person meets the company's values and culture.
Hmm.
That's really, really big. And I said organizations as well, because some people do hire out virtual assistants, and there are organization programs when it comes for that. But they can also meet, I'm sorry, have values that align with your business as well. So you have to be really, really, really intentional about hiring the right people. Do your research.
Hmm.
In addition to that, have good standard operating procedures. Do not just hire someone and say, all right, do your thing. Make sure everything is solid with your particular organizations as well as how certain things operate. I gave email prompts. This is what you should say if a client wants to contact me and begin services, but there's a wait list. Here's the email prompt for this. Here's the email prompt for how they can go about scheduling a 15-minute consultation call. Here's a phone prompt for what you could say when a client reaches out to you about services. Here's a phone prompt for current clients who want to reschedule their appointments. So I have all of the SOPs, which is standard operation procedures, laid out to make it easier for them to transition and also be my brand voice as well. So
Right.
I would never
Okay.
encourage anyone to just say, okay, you're answering the phone, goodbye, because that also makes the employee, the contractor, or even the VAs confused. It's like, okay, so what do you want me to say? Really, what do you want me to direct them to? So always have those good SOPs in place.
I think that's really interesting. And there are a lot of business owners in the very beginning, they're so busy driving that they won't even stop and get gas, so to speak. And I think I often, when I say, hey, well, let's build a process, because when we're hiring people, truly, we're hiring people that could free up our time to create more revenue. So I would always give the lesson of, we want to hire based on a 3-to-1. Whatever we spend in $1 should free up our time to create $3. And I think business owners shortcut and say that they don't have time to write out the process, don't have time to write out the prompts, just like you did, which is, I guess, helped you during the pandemic because we did have time, but it's really helping you now when you're starting to get out there and really grow and expand on your brand.
Exactly. And you talk about time, but oftentimes a lot of stuff is already done. So
Mm.
you email, for me as a therapist, I could speak for iField. I used to email clients all the time about having a wait list. I just took that email, edit it a little bit, and send it over to the VA. It wasn't a matter of me sitting down and just thinking, what should I give them as far as the email prompt? You have these things. It's a matter of you sitting down and just putting a process sheet in play, whether
Right.
it's never make it cute or even just through words. This is what I say when I reach out to clients. This is what I said in the email, but you literally, in most cases, just have to copy and paste these.
You're in a unique situation. A lot of businesses started off, of course, before the pandemic, and then they had to pivot and shift and go into the virtual world and readjust their client engagement and acquisition processes. You started in a virtual world. How has the transition coming out of, primarily being at home and behind your Zoom camera, how has that affected your ability to grow the company or just find new clients or speaking engagements? How has that affected you?
Great
Because you're
question.
transitioning differently.
Yep. So with my practice, it's actually going to be 100% virtual, but I am stepping out into the quote unquote real world to advertise my upcoming group practice, which I'm saying it first on here. So November 1st, I will be we'll begin the hiring process for 3 clinicians and 2 interns. So I'm going out in the community to promote that, as well as to let people know, hey, I have this private practice. I will be launching this group practice with more clinicians to offer low-cost services to members in the community. So it gave me an opportunity to just expose myself outside of the computer and phone screen. So that I'm really, really enjoying that. And it is a breath of fresh air because entrepreneurship can be lonely. I mean, we can record all these TikTok videos, we can do all these IG reels, but again, you're still after that pause on that button by yourself in most cases. So getting out in the community and really talking to members, again, educating them honestly on the importance of mental health, because there's been such a negative stigma associated in the minority communities, specifically for me, Caribbean, because my family's from Trinidad and Guyana. So that particular community is near and dear to my heart. But getting out there and really talking about the importance of receiving these services and helping people, even if it's not my particular practice, receive those services that they need.
Right, right. So that's interesting. You're in the very beginning right now. A lot of times people say, hey, when I would talk to business owners, I need to get things up and running. I got to get a couple of things off my plate first before I can really focus on getting this person or that person. It seems like in the very beginning, you've seen the importance of building a team and that helps you grow versus saying, I'm going to grow and then I'm going to find the people to fill in the gaps. Who do you feel, somebody who's just starting out, whether it be in the pandemic or even today when they're listening to this podcast, who are some of the key members you think are essential when you first start your business, especially where you are right now?
I think when you first start, any person that you can hire for tasks that take you away from the business is super important, because if you're away from the business, revenue is not coming in. Those particular tasks includes an assistant. I'm getting a virtual assistant, but some people hire part-time assistants. It may not be a whole full-time assistant, maybe somebody to come in to answer some emails for 5 hours or 10, whatever you need for your company. So I would definitely encourage people to get an assistant first. I did things so backwards. So I got a social media intern, and then I segued into VA. As I mentioned before, it was hard for me to trust my baby. I knew I needed to hire a team, but again, finding the right people was super important. I already had the right social media intern in mind. Shout out to Shawnessa. So she was on board, but yeah, VA, I would definitely encourage that first. Like I said, I do things a little differently because I had somebody in mind. But VA to take a lot of those challenges off of you, and then segue into getting a good marketing team. Again, if you want to expand and scale, you have to be seen and exposed in the community. You have to be. So making sure that you have people in your corner that can say, hey, it's this particular community event coming up. Let's go and do that. Or having employees volunteering at these community events as a particular requirement for the job, just again, so the company can be exposed, so you can bring in income, whichever industry you're in. For me, it's therapy. So clients, people know I'm here. People are educated about the services I provide and eventually what my team provides. So more likely to get that phone call for a consultation appointment and start services.
Right. I think, another thing that people have mentioned is that as they grow, having a good attorney, a good, CPA person, somebody who can help you. Because one of the things that I say to business owners when they start having great success, I say, what are you going to do about taxes? And they say, what? And a lot of people say, well, I think I've been told that's the price of being successful. And I said, I guess so. I guess about it.
Right. No, you're so
but
right.
I think if there's a way to manage that, so having those people on your team like that, that I know a lot of people said that has been helpful as well. But definitely anybody who can save you time, because I often say, I'd rather you steal my time than steal my money than steal my time, because I can't get the time back.
Exactly. And when you talk about CPAs, that's really important, especially when you talk about taxes and even a good accountant or a good money management system. I was actually at a really good point where I doubled my income. I just did I just checked my books recently. I started out full-time last year. And last year, June, so I was like, let me check and see how things went a year. Double my income. It was great. I'm like, yes, 6 figures. This is amazing. Young millennial entrepreneur. I'm excited. Where's this money going to go?
Right.
So I have all this money. Granted, I've always been good with budgeting, so I know how to save. But the allocation, like you said, how much should I put away for taxes? How much should I put away for operating expenses? How much should I do for this? And I don't know if you're familiar with, you probably are, profit first. So that particular money management system is my favorite thing ever. Because I know that 3% of this goes towards this, 5% of this goes to this, 20% goes here, and now I'm good, because it was like all this money in my account. I'm like, okay, I'm saving all, like, what do I need to do with this?
Outstanding. Great shout out to Mike McAllowitz.
There we go. I love it. I love him. I read the book. I fell in love. I'm like, this is going to be it. Went to the bank the next day.
So here's the thing with people, there being a lot of people who did start their business the same time that you, and the world constantly changing, so much competition out there, you being new, I'm sure you have weathered some storms and getting started. But what do you think, what contributes to you? Like you said, you doubled your revenue, you doubled your income. What has contributed to your success in this short period of time? What do you think has been the biggest contribution to your success?
So I would say one, I humbled myself and learned the industry. So I took a pay cut in order to do contract positions for other organizations to learn the industry. I'm noticing a lot of entrepreneurs just go in but have no idea of what is required of that particular industry. So I did some investigative work. I actually had my LLC. I got my LLC in 2019. So I've been technically a business owner, but I didn't go full force until last year. But within the time frame of when I was considered a business owner part-time and when I went full-time, I was learning all the things about the therapy field as well as the speaking field. So I would definitely encourage people to learn the industry. Just don't go in and say, I'm about to do this. You really need to know what's required of that industry. In addition to that contribution, good mentorships. All of them, I literally invest in mentorship programs. I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship can be so lonely sometimes. So I just needed that virtual interaction as well as personal interaction times. But in addition to that, learning about becoming a millionaire, learning about the therapy industry, what's required of me to scale and expand my business, what marketing techniques work well for me. And I'm blessed to have so many communities, specifically too, I'll say, but so many community members that assist me in my journey with scaling as well as honestly going into private practice. So that was very, very helpful. Good money management system. Like I said, I'm good at budgeting. So I save all the things. I'm just like, where's this money gonna go? Like I have all this money, but where is it gonna go? I don't want to spend it. I'm a vacationer, so I will in a heartbeat go on the next vacation. But I said, I don't think that's the right path. I shouldn't spend this on the Maldives. I should do something with it, like beneficial to the business. So having a good money management system, whether it's profit first or whatever you want to use, get a QuickBooks account, know where your money is going. That's super important. Also, organizational skills. When we talk about standard operating procedures, those processes, those SOPs, you have to have those in line so you can be able to pass that on to someone else. And I know you mentioned some opportunities like, oh, I can't sit down and write these things out. Again, 9 times out of 10, it's literally already out there. You have those things already. It took me literally 5 minutes to write out my SOPs when it comes to onboarding clients. Because I just literally took myself back to what I do first, write it down, add the prompts that I already had. So it doesn't take that long. Give yourself a day to just write all the things out. But when it's time to onboard, you either could give it to that person from an email or automate it to the next employee.
Wow. You know what? I think I like the way that you rely heavily on systems as well. As a mentor told me one time, he said, your number one client is your process.
Oh, I love that.
And he says, and then your process takes care of all of your clients. So if you take care of your process, it'll take care of your clients. And it sounds like you're on the right track and you're doing it. So I guess with the continued growth that you're having, what do you see as the biggest challenges that you face?
I'm learning. Well, I take it back to the pandemic. So when we was in the heart of the pandemic, it was a beautiful storm. So I had the blessing of having this big influx of clients. So it was like, yay, people see me, they like me. I can't take 120 clients. I'm only one person. So it was kind of discouragement around saying no, which I had to learn, but also prioritizing giving them services that they can go to instead of me. And in addition to that, as you know, there's been COVID that caused a lot of PTSD for a lot of people, anxiety for a lot of people, including myself. Then you also have the social injustices, economic challenges, all of those things that I experienced as well. So it became draining because now I have to manage clients' distresses, family distresses, and my distresses. So that was a recipe for burnout. So that was huge for me at the beginning stages of entrepreneurship. And I really had to learn that I really had to put myself first before the business, because if I'm not good, this business is not going to run.
So like you said, you can't take on 120 clients. I guess my question is, so who's your ideal client? What's your sweet spot? What do you look for?
My ideal client are millennials who struggled with, like I mentioned before, psychological and emotional challenges. But specifically when I niche it down, all of the millennials and sometimes Gen Zs who went through or experiencing mommy or daddy issues. So that's the spot right there. But that also segues into other challenges, like I mentioned before, anxiety, depression, generational trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder. So those that's my sweet spot right there. I'm in the millennial area.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I was looking at your site and I see that you do speaking engagements. So I guess what's next for you? You know, continued growth, maybe. Well, you're not at the point of saying that you're going to exit the business. You're just ramping it up. You're in that, you know, in the constant growth. But what's next for you? Is it going to be more expanding of the business and the operations, or is it going to be more of getting out there and getting your message, or what? What's next for you?
It's a lot. It's a lot coming up. Rejuvenated Minds Therapeutic Services, which I'm super excited about. Like I mentioned before, I'm opening a group practice November 1st. So I'll be hiring 3 clinicians to help with the demand. And I'm so excited about that. In addition to that, I'm launching an internship program for master's level clinicians to come on board. And I just want to be the mentor that I needed during my grad studies for them. So I'm excited about that as well. Also, more merchandise. So I'm actually a creator of the Caribbean Vibes and Therapy t-shirt. It's just a t-shirt that promotes positive discussions around the importance of therapy. So I'm actually segueing into doing additional merchandise as well. So I'm so excited about that. And lastly, consultation services for millennial and Gen Z business owners. So I am actually working on developing my consultation services November 1st for business owners to help encourage them to continue to go, as well as help them develop strategies for expansion and stabilization. So I have like great things coming. I'm so excited. Like you said,
Boy,
it's only up from here.
Entrepreneurs are not short on ideas and initiatives, I tell you.
Exactly.
So you said that, you know, working with you know, Gen Z and entrepreneurs and upcoming business owners, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I would have more faith in myself and understand that risk is necessary to be a part of the business world. Faith in myself, because like I said, I'm a young millennial, so there's so many people that's in my industry that's been in there for years, and it can be intimidating. But I, as my husband I always say, I have my own sauce that's gonna make me stand out from all of the rest. So I would definitely tell myself back then that you got it. You got the confidence, you got your own flair, you got your own savory taste in your sauce that makes you stand out from other people and will help bring those clientele to your business. And also, like I said, risk, super important. I'm gonna have to take the risk in order to see the benefits. Now. There's gonna be some safe risk. Because even when I came into entrepreneurship, I hear like I came with $0 and went to $1 million. That is great. Shawnessa can't work like that. So I saved to the T. I saved aggressively, and then decided, okay, I could take this risk, and if I have to come up with a plan B, I also have this plan B as well. But knowing the importance of taking risk in order to get you where you need to be, and I'm learning that it's not so bad.
Right. You know what? I think it's good that you said plan, whether it be a plan A or a plan B. You know, the destination doesn't have to change. Maybe just the path to get there changes. And I think when you have a plan like that, that really makes a difference. So I guess another question I asked my last couple, outside of more clients, what do you think would be the one thing that you would need that would move the needle in your business?
One thing I would need,
outside of more clients.
Oh no, I don't need any more of those either. Right now, I'm good right now. But I would say more exposure, as I mentioned, I'm about to launch this group practice. So I need more exposure so people can know that they can come to the agency. Also, a good marketing team, super important. So again, the exposure can happen. People can know about Rejuvenated Minds. It can be the talk of the town. People can come and either inquire about the business, inquire about my speaking engagements, or potentially acquire about services.
Right.
But right now, I'm good with clients. To bring in future clientele, that's great.
So here's the thing. Someday, because entrepreneurs and business owners, we have a vision for what we want our business to be. We can't sleep at night because we're dreaming about it all the time. And if you were to look down the road, what would your legacy be? Or better yet, what would you like people to say about you and the business that you are creating?
So So I would say that I want people to, one, say she was an inspiration,
Hmm.
and two, to say that she never stopped. There are less than 4% of Black women business owners that hit six figures. I want to say it's either minority business women or women in general, but less than 4%. I am grateful that I am within that realm. I'm very, 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 very proud to hold that particular title. And I want a lot of women out there to know that it's possible and they can do it no matter how old you are or how quote unquote green you are. You can still get to that point and more. Like I said, I'm getting to 1 million. That's going to happen regardless. People will never tell me I will never get there. I'm going to get to 1 million. My drive is going to get me there. And I want people to know, like my mother-in-law, my mom says, when Shawnessa says she's going to do it, she's going to do it. So I guess my daughter about to be a millionaire.
I
I want people to continue to say that about me.
Wow. Well, so that's awesome. I guess for the people who are listening, striving to be an extraordinary executive, just like you, what last tip or advice that maybe I didn't ask would you give to them?
Can I do a few?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a few. Alrighty. So one, like I said, learn the industry. Super important. Two, understand that you do not know everything. You may be an expert in your field. That is cool. That is great. But there are certain things that you can benefit from that you don't know about that would be great for your business. So always be willing to learn. Three, you have your own sauce. Do not feel intimidated about the individuals in your industry. Just bring all those beautiful ingredients that you have to the table, and that's going to attract your clientele. Four, good team. Like we talk about, team is needed. Don't do all the things by yourself. Five, good support system. You really have to make sure, not necessarily your team members, but the people that are around you in your personal life are solid and impactful as well. That could really, really have an impact negatively or positively on your drive. And lastly, risk. You are going to have to take risks with entrepreneurship. Yes, it's uncomfortable. I know from a personal experience, but you have to just sit with that discomfort in order to gain all the gifts and revenue. That's what's needed that you want for your business.
Outstanding. Well, hey, this has been awesome. Thanks again for coming on the show. Hey, everybody, once again, we have been here enjoying a great conversation with Ms. Shawnessa Devonish, the CEO and owner of Rejuvenated Minds Therapeutic Services. As I said before, she is definitely an entrepreneur. And you can hear in her tone and her attitude, she's a CEO and absolutely an extraordinary executive. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, and next week, join us for another guest who's going to be sharing their story, giving you tips on how to grow, start, or even exit your business. I'm Randy Jones. Thanks for joining us today. This podcast is for informational purposes only. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Pass, Guardian, or Financial Growth Partners, and opinions stated are their own. Randy is a registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, Pass, OSJ 11350, McCormick Road, Suite 202, Hunt Valley, Maryland 21031, 410-828-540. Securities products and advisory services offered by Pass, member, FINRA, SIPC, financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Pass is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Financial Growth Partners is the DBA name of IAPA LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary, Guardian 2022-142821, expiration 824.